Hey guys, welcome to another training. Today I strictly wanted to talk about tracking systems and following up. As a coach now I've been a coach for a little bit over 2 years on and off, and now I'm doing it full time this past year. But along the way, I've mentioned failing forward, right? And implementing these daily knowledges that we get, and every time that we learn something we should implement it, because that's the only way that we learn, and that's the only way that we move forward, whether it's failing or succeeding. So I just wanted to go over a couple of ways of tracking systems, how to follow up with people, and just showing you guys a little bit of glimpse of like what I do. So right now with just tracking and following up, you guys, make sure that when you're inviting people, we're following up with them, right? So that's one of the vital behaviors, super, super important. So every time that I invite, I tend to follow up with those people 2 to 3 days, sometimes 4, depending on the week, depending on the situation. But I use my tracker of 100. And every time somebody responds to me and they're interested, I will highlight their name and I will add them to my list of interest. And those people who don't respond or ghost me, I will go through at the end of the week and I will follow up with them. So I usually give like a couple day leeway. Some messages get lost, people are just busy. And I'll definitely follow up with them a few days. That way they're not falling through the cracks, and then they know I'm serious and I'm just not cold messaging them. So I will follow up with them, whether it's 2 or 3 days after, just saying something like, hey, Stacy, I'm not sure if you saw my previous message. I wanted to pop in here. I'm really excited about this group I'm running. If you're interested, I would love to send you more information. If not, no pressure either way. I thought I would follow up with you before we kick things off. Something super simple, but something that is engaging. You're following up with her. I'm still here. I messaged you about it and I know you're busy, but I wanted to follow up if you want more information. I would love to send you some, but if not, totally fine. So now there's 2 different ways that this can go. She could ghost you again, or she'll say not right now, or she'll say sure, right? So there's a couple different ways. So if she doesn't respond, then I'll usually just cross her off and I'll message her with just a random conversation again, or commenting on her pictures and kind of getting her to engage that way. If she says not right now, I will engage in a conversation, something like, okay, are you in a fitness routine already? Are you just busy? Like, what's your holdback? Do you want me to follow up with you next month? Is that okay? And if she says yes, then I will put her on my follow-up list. And if she says no, then I'll just cross her off. Totally, totally fine. But you guys, if she says yes, there's a couple different ways. If it's through Facebook, I'll usually add them onto my either Excel sheet where I have a follow-up list from like January to December. And if I follow up with her in December, I'll put her on my December list. That way you're tracking these people, so they're not falling through the cracks. You're not going to say, I'm going to follow up with you, but then you're going to forget her name. So that's one way. There's a couple different ways to track. And one really good website is Streak, which is all about organizing. So you can have a list of people who you're talking to. And then once you're talking to those people, you could actually set reminders of when to message them again, and then add them to different lists to follow up with them depending on your conversations. And then if you send a share cart, they'll go to that list, and it's super, super easy to track. So you have that. And like I said, I also started doing just Excel sheets. So you have your follow-up list, and it's super easy trackable. Just save it. And then once you follow up from there, you can add them to another list. And you guys, the signups that we get are so, so crucial, because they are the ones with the people that you're following up. So usually it's like the 5th or 7th conversation, or the 5th or 7th invite where people actually say yes. So make sure you're adding them to a follow-up list. And then obviously if somebody says no, then take them off. If they say yes, send them more information and just go from there. But definitely when I have my list, let's say I have my list of 100 people. Let's say this is my list. I'll make sure everybody is checked off this list that I had a conversation with. So I'll have my 100 people. If anybody says yes, I will highlight their name, and then I'll usually flip it around and I'll write their name, their email, what their goals are, and our conversations are going, right? And if they don't answer and they're ghosting me, then these are the people that I'm going to follow up with at the end of the week. That's how I do it. You could also follow up with them at the end of the month. That way they have some time. It's really up to you. But I like to go through my whole list. That way I could just go to the next. and my next 100 page. So I'm constantly having those conversations, but everybody who says not right now, I start the conversation of when is a good time? Is it okay if I follow up in a couple months from now? When would be a better time? And then I'll add them to my follow-up. So make sure that you are staying on top of it, being consistent, and creating those lists of follow-ups, because it goes such a long way. So that was my tips on that. So I have my Excel sheet. And then on Instagram, I can't show you guys my phone because I'm recording on it right now, but on Instagram, we have what is called collections. So if you're talking to somebody and you have them in one collection of maybe January prospects and they say, not right now, I was going to sign up, but maybe 2 months from now, I'll take them and I'll add them to my collection that's like 2 months from there. So if it's January, then I'll add them into my March collection and just have my follow-ups in there. That's why it's nice to have these collections, because you could put people in these monthly groups where those are the conversations that you're tracking, and you know the people who say not right now, follow up, 3 months from now, you can add them to that group. So you're just constantly being aware of the conversations and the follow-ups that you're having. So if you're starting out and you're feeling overwhelmed and you feel like, what is Streak? Like, I can't learn this right now, this is overwhelming. Just start simple. Start on a simple piece of paper. And that's how most of us started out, is just simple notebook. Write down your invites, cross them off, highlight them, track your conversations. Because if you're not tracking your conversations, you're not tracking the people who you're talking to, your business is not going to go anywhere. And that's just a fact. It's something that you need to start off doing right off the bat, especially with emails. I love getting everybody's email. If I'm talking to somebody and I'm inviting them and they say, yes, send me more info, the first thing I ask them is, awesome, I'm so excited that you're interested. What's your email? I'm going to send you a little summary and then we'll go from there. And then once they send me their email, I use what's called MailChimp, which is a free email campaign tracking system. So I'll have my own email list in, in MailChimp, where I add everybody's email in there. So when I'm sending my weekly newsletters or making a cool Canva picture, when I'm doing something, Peppermint Mocha's coming out, and just doing those newsletters, I have everybody's email in there. And the cool thing about Streak is that you could create your own lists. So you can actually do a mass email to everybody who was interested and send them a mass email of a follow-up. So it goes such a long way. That way you're not wasting time trying to message individual people. And same thing with newsletters. Maybe something brand new is launching and you want to tell everybody who didn't sign up yet, but they gave you their email and they kind of fell off. And newsletter is an amazing way to keep marketing yourself and getting yourself out there without having to constantly be messaging them individually. You could do a nice, cool newsletter saying, my next bootcamp starting, I know you were interested. If you're ready to jump in this time, comment below, respond to this email, and just keep staying in their face that way. So those are a couple ways. You could definitely look up your own tracking system and see what works best for you. Like I said, I use Excel and I still use Excel. Super, super easy. I'll do all my follow-ups in there. And then at the end of the month or the start of each month, I'll go to my next month's follow-up list and I'll follow up with them. And then I'll add them to another list. I'll cross them off if they're not interested anymore, or we'll sign them up. Either way. So find what works best for you, but make sure you're staying organized and you're just keeping track of these people, because it makes such a big difference, and you could easily lose track of who you're talking to, and then you're just going to feel overwhelmed, deflated, and you're not going anywhere. So you guys, make sure you're inviting, you're doing those follow-ups, and you're tracking them. Like I said, Streak is really, really amazing. STREAK.com. So good. Or Excel, or any of the other ones you could look up. And then I'll use MailChimp for my emails, tracking them. Same thing, you can put them on an Excel sheet wherever you want to just make sure that you're keeping track. You can always transfer them to a program that you find later in life, and that way. So just make sure you're tracking, following up, inviting, and just keeping those conversations going and putting them in a system that works best for you so that you don't lose track of them. All right, guys, so have a nice day, and I hope this was helpful.